Karina, baby. A year full of stories. Today is May the 12th. You are 5 years, 1 month, and 2 days old today. Can you believe it? Mama can't. Mama can't believe it. Right now there's a coronavirus going on, and all the court systems are shut down. And Mom was waiting for them to open up so that I could talk to you and have you with me as much as possible. So, because of the coronavirus, everything is just shut down. But Mama is trying, baby. Mama just loves you. Mama thinks about you all the time, every day, every second of the day. Mama loves you. Alright, so this is the clay baby. The clay baby. Daisy Bloom was a potter. Her house was full of pots, bowls, and jugs. She had mold. On Monday morning, Daisy was busy in her workshop. She threw a lump of buttery clay on the wheel. The oozed through her fingers and dribbled down her elbows. Daisy pedaled the wheel to make it spin. So she pedaled something to make it spin. Soon it was very whirling around so fast that Daisy had to hold on tight to the slippery lump. But on this particular morning, something extraordinary happened. The lump wiggled and squiggled and hurled itself to the floor. One tiny piece broke off and rolled into the corner. The big lump jumped up and hid behind some pots. Only it's a lump. It was a clay baby. Catch me if you can, he giggled. Daisy was as pleased as could be. I've always wanted a real baby, she said. But this one will do just as well. Daisy caught the baby and showed him to her husband, Stanley. What a lovely baby, he said. On Tuesday, Stanley took the clay baby shopping. When they got to the supermarket, the baby skipped away and found a cart. The cart made a good racing car. Vroom, vroom, went the runaway baby. He sped by the baked beans and crashed into some fresh fruit. Stanley gobbled and baby and Stanley grabbed the baby and pulled him out of the mess. I'll push the cart next time, said Stanley sternly. Every day that week, the clay baby got into mischief. On Sunday, during a picnic in the coterie, he ran into a field and chased some sheep. Shoo, shoo, he yelled, laughing. Bah, bah, cried the worried sheep and their lambs. The farmer was very angry. The evening, Daisy sent the clay baby to bed without any supper. She wondered if he would ever behave. It was as if the little piece of good was missing. It was as if a little piece of good was missing. And that set Daisy thinking. She remembered the day the clay baby had been made, and how one tiny piece of clay had broken off and rolled onto the counter. Daisy hurried to the workshop in search for that tiny piece of clay. At last she found it, picked it up, and looked at it carefully. Just as I thought, she said. It's full of goodness. So Daisy took that tiny lump of goodness to the sleepy baby and pressed it over his heart. And from then on, things were quite different. The clay baby was as good as could be, and only naughty sometimes, just like a real baby. That's right, babies are amazing and beautiful and perfect. Babies are just so perfect, baby, and you're my baby. So that means that Mama thinks about you, that you are just beautiful, and you're just amazing, and you are just perfect. Trust me, Mama knows you inside and out, baby. You're the only person that knows Mama's heartbeat completely from the inside that is alive. You know that? You're the only one. And you are alive and well and you're okay. You're gonna be okay. Mama promises. Everything will eventually be okay. Alright, so yesterday we did The Tale of Tom Kitten and a few other ones. Today we're doing Jemima Puddle Duck. There's the puddle duck with the fox. Let's see what's going on. The Tale of Jemima Puddle Duck. What a funny sight it is to see the brood of ducklings with a hen listening to a story of Jemima Puddle Duck, who was annoyed because the farmer's wife had not let her hatch her own eggs. Her sister-in-law, Miss Rebecca Puddle Duck, was perfectly willing to leave the hatching to someone else. I have not the patience to sit on a nest for 28 days, and no more have you, Jemima. You would let them go cold. You know you would. I wish to hatch my own eggs. I will hatch them all by myself, I quacked. Jemima Puddle Duck. She tried to hide her eggs, but they were always found and carried off. Jemima Puddle Duck became quite desperate. She determined to make a nest away from the farm. She set off on a fine spring afternoon along the cart road that leads over the hill. She was wearing a shawl and a pokey bonnet. When she reached the top of the hill, she saw the wood in the distance. She thought that it looked like a safe, quiet spot. Jemima Puddle Duck was not much in the habit of flying, so she ran downhill for a few yards, flapping her shawl, and then she jumped off into the air. She's trying to fly. She wants to hatch her own eggs, baby, but they keep being taken. The farmer's wife keeps taking them. So she's like, I'm going to devise a plan, and I'm going to go somewhere else to hatch my eggs. Let's see what happens. She flew beautifully. When she had got to a good start, she skimmed along over the treetops until she saw an open place in the middle of the wood, where the trees and brushwood had been cleared. Jemima, all lighter rather heavily, and began to waddle and about to be in search of a convenient dry nesting spot. She rather fancied the treetop stump amongst the small tree foxgloves, but seated upon the stump she was startled to find an elegantly dressed gentleman reading a newspaper. He had black perked ears and sandy-colored whiskers. Quack, said Jemima Puddle Duck, with her head and her bonnet on the one side. Quack. The gentleman raised his eyes above his newspaper and looked curiously at Jemima. Ma'am, have you lost your way? He said. He had a long bushy tail, which he was sitting upon, as the stump was somewhat damp. Jemima thought him mighty civil and handsome. She explained that she was not lost her way, but she was trying to find a convenient dry nesting place. Ah, I see that. So indeed. So the gentleman was Sandy Whiskers. Looking curiously at Jemima, he folded up the newspaper, but put it in his coat-tail pocket. Jemima complained of the super loose hen. Indeed, how interesting. I wish I could meet with that fowl. I wish I could teach it to mind its own business. But as to a nest, there is no difficulty. I have a sack full of feathers in my workshop. No, my dear madam, you will be in nobody's way. You may sit there as long as you'd like, said the bushy long-tailed gentleman. He led the way to the very retired, dismal-looking house amongst the foxgloves. It was built on faggots and turf, and there were two broken pails on one top of the other, by way of the chimney. This is my summer residence. You would not find my winter house so convenient, said the hospitable gentleman. There was a tumble-down shed and the brick of a house made of old soap boxes. The gentleman opened the door and showed Jemima in. So what do you think? Who do you think she's talking to? It's a gentleman who has a nice jacket on. But he's a fox, huh? What do you think he's devising? What kind of plan? Do you think he's actually trying to help? We'll find out. The shed was almost quite full of feathers. It was almost suffocating, but it was comfortable and very soft. Jemima the Puddle Duck was rather surprised to find a vast quantity of feathers, but it was very comfortable, and she made a nest without any trouble at all. When she came out, the sandy-whiskered gentleman was sitting on a log reading the newspaper. At least he had it spread out, but he was looking over the top of it. He was so polite that he seemed almost sorry to let Jemima go home for the night. He promised to take good care of her nest until she came back again the next day. He said he loved eggs and ducklings, and he should be proud to see a fine nestful in his woodshed. Jemima Puddle Duck came every afternoon and laid 9 eggs in the nest. They were greeny white and very large. The fox gentleman admired them immensely. The foxy gentleman admired them immensely. He used to turn them over and count them when Jemima was not there. At last Jemima told him that she intended to begin to sit the next day, and I will bring a bag of corn with me so that I need never leave my nest until the eggs are hatched. They might catch cold, said the conscientious Jemima. Madam, I beg you not to trouble yourself with the bag. I will provide oats, but before you commence your tedious sitting, I intend to give you a treat. Let us have a dinner party all to ourselves. May I ask you to bring up some herbs from the farm garden to make a savory omelet? Sage and thyme and mint and 2 onions and some parsley. I will provide lard for the lard for the omelet, said the hospitable gentleman with sandy whiskers. Jemima Puddle Duck was a simpleton. Not even the mention of the onions made her suspicious. So they're saying Jemima was a simpleton, meaning that she didn't really think about it. She was just like, oh yeah, sage and onions, of course. And the word omelet to make her think twice about what she's doing. Alright. Was a simpleton, and not even the mention of sage and onions made her suspicious. She went round the farm garden, nibbling off snippets of all of the different sorts of herbs that are used for stuffing roast duck. And she waddled into the kitchen and got 2 onions out of the basket. The collie dog met her coming out. So the collie dog met her coming out. What are you doing with those onions? Where do you go every afternoon by yourself, Jemima Puddle Duck? Jemima was rather in awe of the collie. She told him the whole story. The collie listened with his wise head on one side. He grinned when she described the polite gentleman with sandy whiskers. So what do you think the collie's gonna do for her? Do you think the collie's gonna give her good advice? Because it's a wise collie who listened very intently. He put his ear towards her and listened and let her speak and let her tell all about this story about what happened, that she's leaving every day, that she's going to meet up with this gentleman, that she's going into his shed that's full of feathers where she can make a nest, and she's laying nine eggs every single day. And now she's ready to sit on her eggs so that they will become hens and roosters. Or ducklings. I'm sorry, ducklings. So what do you think is going to happen? So he asked several questions about the wood, about the exact position of the house and the shed. Then he went out and he trotted down the village and went to look for the foxhound puppies that were out at walk with the butchers. Jemima Puddle Duck went to the cart road for the last time on a sunny afternoon. She was rather burdened with bushes of herbs and 2 onions in a bag. She flew over the wood and altered position to the house of the bushy long-tailed gentleman. He was sitting on a log. He sniffed the air and kept glancing uneasily round the wood. When Jemima altered, he quit jumping. "Come into the house as soon as you have looked at your eggs. Give me the herbs for the omelette. Be sharp." He was rather abrupt. Jemima Puddle Duck had never heard him speak like that. She felt surprised and uncomfortable. When she was inside, she heard pattering feet round the back of the shed. Someone with a black nose sniffed at the bottom of the door and then locked it. Jemima became much alarmed. A moment afterwards, there were most awful noises: barking, bagging, growls, howls, squalling, and groans, and nothing more was ever seen of the foxy-whiskered gentleman. Presently kept open the door of the shed and let out Jemima Puddle Duck. Unfortunately, the puppies rushed in to gobble up all the eggs before he could stop them. He had a bite on his one ear, and both the puppies were limping. Oh. So the puppy Kip was able to save her, but wasn't able to save her babies, because the other puppies came in and trampled them. So Jemima Puddle Duck was escorted home in tears on account of those eggs. She laid some more in June, and she was permitted to keep them herself, but only 4 of them hatched. Jemima Puddle Duck said that if it was because of her nerves, but she had always been a bad sitter. Oh. So she got to have 4 babies. Alright, baby. Mama loves you. Mama loves you so very, very much. And Mama just wants the absolute best for you. That's all I've ever wanted, was the absolute best for you. And Mama will do anything. Mamas will do anything to protect their babies. Everything I did was honestly to protect you. You give up your life for love. My father, your grandfather, was an amazing man, right? He taught Mama lots and lots and lots of things. Now, Mama only had her papa in her life until I was 12. When I was 12, my papa went up to heaven. So, but he demonstrated the amount of love that somebody could have for somebody else. And it's immense, and it's intense, and it's all giving, right? It's unlimited, no matter what, unconditional. It's like a mother loves her child. Unconditional love. Mama will love you unconditionally no matter what you do. No matter what you do. I will always love you because you're my baby. Because I waited forever to have you. Because I've always wanted you, right? Mama holds you in her heart every day. Every day. Every second of the day. Because Mama had you, and no one can take that away, right? No one can take that away from anybody. I will always be your mama, and you'll always be my baby. You'll always be my baby. But, my papa taught me that love is sacrifice. And he sacrificed himself to the point that he was no longer here and he's up in heaven for the person that he loved. Right? And that's the example that Mama had of unconditional love, of what it is and where it comes from and how much it might hurt sometimes and how much you give. Right? Maybe Mama had a bad example. Maybe it wasn't the best thing. But the thing is, I can't change the past. Mama chose to protect. Mama chose to love. Mama chose to sacrifice. Mama chose those things. And Mama chose not to break someone else's reality. And Mama chose love above anything else. Alright? And it was for reasons that, because I built somebody and I did whatever, but it was for reasons that I had at the time. But my point is that I love you. Alright? Papa will always say that Mama is his sun. I will always say that Papa is my moon, and you will always be our rainbow baby, no matter what, Karina. You will always be our rainbow baby, and we will always love you. The both of us will always love you, because you're not just a part of Papa, you're not just a part of Mama, you're a part of both of us, alright? That's the way it works. You're a part of both of us, and that means no matter what, Mama will always love you. No matter what, Papa will always love you. Papa can try and be jealous and separate and divide, but love isn't divided. That's a really bad love. Love is shared. If you divide love and you put people in over here and over here and over here and over here, that's just sad. Alright? Love is shared. There's so much love in this world that you can't possibly run out of love. When mamas have one baby like I have one baby like you, Mama loves you immensely. If Mama had 2 babies, Mama would love both those babies immensely. If Mama had 10 babies, Mama would love all those babies and try and have all those babies work as a team. Because life is better if you work as a team and you do shared love. Shared love is coming together. It's sharing food. It's sharing resources. It's sharing time. It's sharing company. It's shared love. Shared love is good love. Shared love is compatible love, and you know, even though someone might not agree with you and might not think the same way as you, that's okay. It's okay to have different opinions and different viewpoints and to think different ways and to, you know, have your own perception. Every single person, if you go to a church, every single person in those pews has their own perception of God, of reality, of who they are, of who other people see them to be. Everyone has their own perceptions, and it's hard to break a personal perception, which is why videos and voice recordings and cameras and like real evidence is a good thing. Real evidence is a great thing, you know. But perception, someone can take something this small and turn it into a mountain, and other people with perception could take something that is a mountain and turn something into that tiny little seed that they see it as. Perception is this wonderful, marvelous, like beautiful thing that every last person has. And if someone perceives something different, a lot of people don't want to break that perception. So it's hard. Perceptions on reality are really, really hard. That's why there's whole entire philosophy courses that study this with people and the way the brain works and the way that feelings work and the way everything works. Like, perception is just hard. And, you know, it's improper and impolite to break other people's perceptions on reality. It's improper and impolite for a woman sometimes to break a man's perception on anything, you know, but, and being a housewife and homemaker like me, you might decide to be a career woman if you want to be, that's perfect. sometimes if you're a housewife and homemaker, you do have to make more sacrifices, and I understand if you want to be a career woman and make your own money and be more independent like that on your own, that's completely perfect. Mama would support anything you want to do, whether you want to. It's completely up to you, alright? Just know that I love you every moment and every second of every single day. I love you. I will always love you. There's nothing in this world that can change that. You know? Remember the first time I saw you, first time I picked you up, it was just Mother's Day a couple of days ago on the 10th, and Mama tried very hard to be allowed to talk to you, and I know I'm not the only person who's standing in that. It doesn't matter. Anyway, Mama tried to reach out to you, and Mama tried to, you know, but for right now, I just have to wait for the court system to open up. But the very first time I saw you, I caught you. The midwife, I was having you, and the midwife handed you to me, and I just stared at you, because I had you in the bathroom at the birthing center. I just stared at you, and I walked back to the bed, and just in awe of you. You didn't even cry yet, and then you cried. Like, there was like that couple of seconds that you didn't cry, and all of a sudden you were just crying. I'm like, oh my god, why is she crying so much? And, you know, but I was just so elated. The first thing I said to you was, I'm so glad you're out. I'm so glad to see you. I kept just saying, I'm so glad you're out. I'm so glad you're out. Because I had this beautiful baby that I've been holding in my womb for 10 months, and then I had this beautiful baby in my hands and in my arms and on me, and just, Mama had you completely naturally, and you were back labor. They were saying that's going to be the worst pain in my entire life, and I have a really, really, really high pain tolerance. I mean, Mama just got her tonsils out a couple months ago, and the doctors were telling me, you're not going to understand the pain that you're going to be in. I got my tonsils taken out, they put me to sleep, they woke me up, and I woke up and I was completely fine. I was, you know, eating sherbet and drinking ice cold water, and the doctor came by to see me, and she goes, you drank all the water and you ate the sherbet? And I go, yeah. She goes, how are you feeling? I'm like, I'm completely fine. Mama, and some people would make that situation of getting your tonsils out as an adult, because apparently they say it's worse as an adult because of all the infections that you get throughout the years and the scar tissue that they had to take out of my throat. But people can take that little tiny thing of getting their tonsils out and be like, oh my gosh, I'm in pain, and maximize that into mountains, right? Mama takes that, you know, Mama got her tonsils out and it's supposed to be this immense amount of pain, and I took that as something that wasn't that much pain that I couldn't handle, because Mama knows that pain goes away. Pain doesn't stay forever. Like, Mama's in pain because she misses you, and I'm sad, and I'm incredibly sad not to have you with me, because my plan was to have you every single day of your life, not ever letting you, like, no sleepovers, stuff like that until you're 7, because you're just still little until you're 7, and like, mamas are supposed to be with their babies until they're 7, monkeys stay with their children until they're 7, you know, as an everyday constant thing, like, you know, just being with your child. But like, yeah, Mama never wanted to be separated from you, so this is the most devastating thing I've ever been through in my entire life, you know, and you're our rainbow baby, so, you know, I'll explain that to you when you get older, but like, yeah, this is the most devastating thing that could have ever happened to me in my entire life, is to be separated from you. This is it. This is the worst thing that could ever happen in my entire life, is being separated from you like this. But Mama loves you, and Mama's taking everything. Mama takes everything as a character building experience. See, if you let something destroy you and you become bitter from experiences, even if someone's trying to hurt you this much, you don't become bitter from any situation. What you do is you take it as a learning lesson, and you become even more loving towards people, and even more forgiving, because you see other people's pain, and you see their hurt, and you see what they're going through, and it becomes to the fact that you could feel it. Like, Mama is so good at handling pain, but the empathy, like feeling somebody else's pain that it's around you when you know you're in that much pain yourself, it just makes you more of a loving person. Like, this learning lesson, this object lesson, as your papa would call it, is making Mama a better person. God let this happen for a reason, because sometimes that you just need to become better. You need to see something better. You need to see other people. You need to have more empathy and more sympathy. Like, yes, Mama needed to be tenderized. Like, my heart needed to be stricken with a lot of blows and need to become even more compassionate. Like, and Mama is such an optimistic person, and I believe in people, and I believe in people too much, makes me a little gullible. But like, Mama just loves you. That's my point anyway. Mama just loves you, and I'd never forget about you, not even for a second, Karina. Not even for a second. Don't ever, 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 ever think that I'd even forget you for a second. Because I don't. I think about you all the time. All the time. And I'm so glad I'm doing these videos. I'm so glad I'm reading to you every night and every day. Because this was like the best idea that I had to come up with. Because I was listening to Papa and playing by his rules a lot. And I'm like, why am I not doing YouTube to just make videos for my baby every day? Because you're going to grow up, and I want you to be able to be like, oh no, Mama did care, Mama did love, Mama did always love, and Mama got herself into a huge mess by loving too much. You know, sometimes Mama thinks I could save somebody else and sacrifice myself, but never sacrifice yourself this much, baby. If I could teach you one thing, I'm gonna teach you that. But Mama loves you. You know, Mama loves you. I love 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 you so much, and I pray for you all the time. I will always love you, Karina. I love you, and I miss you, baby.